Welcome to our December webinar for ZAPP. My name is Justine Chappell. I'm the Communications and Marketing Manager for ZAPP and Cafe. Today's webinar will be a fun one as I'll be reviewing the new features the ZAPP team has added to the site in the past year, and I'll be giving you a rundown of the new features that will be added in 2023. These latest and upcoming features are largely taken from feedback submitted to us in our annual surveys and by phone and email conversations. The team takes all that feedback and determines which new features they are going to work on adding throughout the year. Well, I'm going to start off our webinar by going through a list of some of the latest new features that we've made throughout the site in the past year. This list doesn't cover every modification we've made throughout the site in the past year, but these are the items that most pertain to your everyday use of ZAPP and the features we want to make sure you're aware of so that you can use them going forward. So we'll go ahead and dive right in. I'll kind of work backwards in the features that were added most recently to kind of longer ago. So first we have the event management table updates. This update was made in mid-November, and basically it's a new way to filter applications that give you more flexibility to view and categorize applications. This change gives you the ability to filter applications by specific tags, flags, and purchase products. We've also added the ability to select or deselect all flags at once instead of individually, and you can now tag applications from the table itself. So I'm going to demonstrate this to you, and I'll demonstrate filtering applications and those other new tools. I'll go ahead and log into ZAPP as an admin, and I'm going to choose our event here. So just as a quick overview to make this tool make a little more sense, all filtering is taking a large set of data, so for example, your entire list of applications submitted to your event, and narrowing it down to a smaller portion. The filter itself is the criteria you set in order to include or exclude certain data. So similar to like online shopping, you might be shopping for a certain thing that you then filter by size, color, price to narrow down your search, and you might use all those search criteria at once. And the updates in ZAPP work the same way, where you can add multiple criteria to search for at once. This could be helpful to identify applications that were submitted to a particular medium category, view the list of artists who paid certain booth fees, maybe quickly locate one application based on its status or other defining characteristic. There's a lot of different things. So we'll start by, loading our list of applications. This again was in the events management tab, and I just go ahead and selected my event. Then what you're going to do, this is where the updates were made in this search applications box here. You're going to click into this filter applicants by field, and you'll see we have the following filters that you can choose from. So you can sort by status, medium category, purchase products, tags, or flags. Once you select the filters you want, a new filter for each field will appear as a subfilter. So let's say I wanted to search by, let's say, photographers in that purchase, let's say maybe a single booth. So I'm going to click by medium category because I want to filter by medium category. I'm going to get rid of this all applications one. And I'm going to also filter by purchase products. So those are setting the general criteria that I want to search by. Then in the subfilter fields that appear based on what I've selected here, I'm going to click into medium category. And this is where I'll choose from the categories I have for my event. And I want to look for photography. So I'm going to click photography. And then again, you might default to say all purchase products or all of whatever filter you're using, but you can always just exit out of that. And then the subfilter for purchase products, I'm going to search by single booth. So now I'm going to say, okay, I want to search by photography and single booth fees paid. And then I'm going to go ahead and click search. And you'll see we have one artist that fits this criteria in that they're a photographer and they paid a single, let's move this over here, a single booth fee here. So that's kind of how it works, where you can add multiple filters and then within each filter specify what you actually want to search for. You can reset everything by just clicking this reset button here, and that will just kind of re-pull up all your applications listed. Or if you add multiple filters, you can click clear to take that off, or you can remove the filter altogether here. So there's multiple ways you might use these filters, and you may be using 1, 2, maybe even 3 filters at once. So you can just go ahead and play around with it, and you might discover some useful ways to use it. And then let's go over the changes that we made recently to the flags and tags for the events management table. Let me actually go back to, because I'll show you how this kind of works. I'll go back to that same search criteria we had before. Actually, maybe I'm just going to do my photography category here. That'll make more sense. So for the changes made to the flag feature, all we really did was, as usual, you can come in here and select each individual box for the applications you want to add a flag to. And flagging can mean whatever you want it to mean. It just kind of showing that the application has something special about it. But now what we did is we made it easier for you to just select all or select none. So as you toggle select all or select none under the flag column, you can flag all the applications or unflag them at once. This can be helpful because if you first search your applications by a certain criteria and you pull up just a subsection of your list of applications, you can just flag them all at once. So maybe you want to flag everyone in photography that paid their deposit or something like that. You can first search for that group of artists and then flag all or select none, and that will update all of them at once. So it's just kind of a quicker way. And then next for tags, we added the ability to add tags to the table itself. So previously, I'll go ahead and show you, you could have, this was always available. You can click into the application page, and once this loads, you can go ahead and add tags from the application itself. But we made this easier by just adding it to the table. So once this page loads again, on the very right under the tag column, you can go ahead and add the tag for the application. So you might say award winner or something like that. Maybe there's some other tags that you use for your events, and you can click add. That will add it to the application, and you can remove them straight from the table itself as well. You can have up to 3 tags in addition to this deposit tag. So the deposit tag is automatically entered for the application if they purchased a deposit. So you can have 3 plus the deposit. I forgot to mention one thing. So for tags, when you add a tag, I can just put a test tag here and click add. It saves it automatically. I forgot to mention that if you're going to select all flags here, you do want to make sure you click update all, and that's going to save the changes to the flags itself. So flags aren't necessarily going to be updated automatically when you uncheck or check them. So make sure you click update all at the bottom there. So those are just some updates we made to the events management table to make it a little easier to manage your applications. And let's go ahead and move on to our next update. The next change that we released, this one was made back in June, and that's the addition of the publish button to ZAPP to make it easier for you to request that your event be published by the ZAPP team. Let's go back in as an admin here. I'm going to switch events. When you first add your event and you go into the event editor, you will see at the top, once it loads, you'll see at the top here, we have the event status. So when you first add your event, it's going to be set to not published. It might also be set to pending if you have yet to submit your payment for the event itself in ZAPP. Once your event is updated and you've, gone through the event editor and you put in all your information, you've checked to make sure you've filled everything out. And once your event's ready, you'll go ahead and click publish event. And then click send publish request. That's going to send an email to the ZAPP team who will conduct a brief complimentary review of your application settings and your event info and make sure everything is set up so that artists can apply. And when the event's good to go, the team member will update your event status to published here. At that point, your event details become immediately visible on your application, and then your application will become open to applicants starting on your accept applications date. So this just saves you from sending this team a separate email or letting us know that you're ready to publish. All you have to do is click publish event and it'll send us an email. And it'll be easier for you to know if you've remembered to do that, because once you publish it or request to publish, this button here will be grayed out. So it'll tell you that you've already submitted your publish request. So with this feature, we also added a couple backend settings that kind of helps keep you updated. So the first is when we publish your event and we change your status to published, you'll get an email automatically that says your event's been published, and it'll include this event URL. And that'll be what you can use to get the event ready to go. So you'll know when it's been published by getting this email. We also added a reminder that will be sent to you if you have an event that's not published, but your accept applications date is 1 week away. So a week ahead of time, we're just going to make sure that you don't forget to submit your publish request so that you can get your event published on time. So that's the publish event button that we added back in June. The next feature we added, this one actually was back in March of last year. We added the ability for administrators to create application questions that allow artists and vendors to upload files directly to the application. So if we go to the application editor tab and we click build new question, we now have the file upload type. And that allows you to ask the question of what you need and then note what file types you're accepting. So you can just make sure you accept documents only, or you can allow spreadsheets or images as well. And so you can now have these files be directed or uploaded directly to the application from the artist or vendor. And you can have us export all of those documents at once, just like you would request an image burn or an image request. You can ask us to create a download of all the files that were uploaded by artists all at once. And then with this change of being able to upload files directly to the application, this of course affected the artist side, which I'm going to briefly kind of show you here. So this is me logged in as a ZAPP artist. And you now have the ability to upload files to the application. And when that happens, the file will actually be saved into the file section of their portfolio itself. So if they upload a document to the application, it'll get added to the portfolio. If they upload it to their portfolio first, which they can do, they will also have the option to attach that file from their portfolio to the application if you're asking for one. So kind of just works both ways, and they can choose whichever option works best for them. All right. And then, of course, we have these accepted file formats, but you as the administrator can determine if you only want to accept documents or spreadsheets or images. And that's all separate from the artwork and booth shots, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Those get added as a separate part of the application. And while we're talking about the artist side, I will explain our next new feature that was added in the past year. This is the options for artists to organize portfolio. So even though you're all administrators, you might be curious of what it's like to be an artist, and maybe you have an artist account yourself. So I'll go ahead and talk about this. Basically, we've added the ability for artists to organize their applications, their artwork images or files into folders. They can add tags and comments to their files now. And they now have the option to view the work samples in a grid in their portfolio or the list view. So I'll go through each of these parts of this feature. So the first thing we did was separated the portfolio into different tabs. So we have artwork images, which is separate from booth shots. And then separate from that are files, and then the save statements, which they can upload and create statements that can easily be attached to applications. So we separated those out just to make it a little bit more clear of differentiating between especially artwork images and booth shots. For the folders, if they want to add a folder, what they can do is go ahead and click Add or Edit Folders and click Add Folder to create a new one. Maybe they want one for their 2023 festival cycle. This will be the parent folder, and I'll click Save. And when I close it, you'll see that we've got this new folder added here. And if I want to put an image from my portfolio into the folder, I just have to click on the image, click on Edit. And on the folder section here, I now have the option to add it to this folder. And I can go ahead and click Submit. And now the image will be inside the folder itself. You can also add folders within folders. So if I am in this folder here and I click Add or Edit Folder, I can click Add again. And then maybe I want to differentiate by different artwork types. So I'll give it a name, put it under the parent folder of my festival cycle, click save, and that will be added there. So folders are helpful for artists or vendors who have a lot of images. Maybe they want to sort it by year or by event if they submit particular images for each one. It just kind of gives them some more organizational ways to view it. And, you can always, if you see here at the top, it'll kind of show the folder structure as it goes. For tags or comments, which is also new, an artist can click on the image, again, click edit. Then they can click add comment to add a comment. This is just internal. It's not visible to administrators or jurors. It kind of just gives them the ability to make a note of their artwork. Or they can create a tag. So tags can be used in any way they choose. Similar to how you tag applications, they can just create like a short phrase or word and add that phrase there. So maybe it's something like that. And they can add up to 3 tags as well. Tags as well are also only visible to the artist and or vendor. And then finally, what we did to the portfolio page is, oops, I got logged out. On the portfolio, we can either show it in a list view or a grid view. So right now we're looking at it in a grid view. And if I click that, it'll put it into a list view. It looks better if it has multiple images in there, but some artists do have a lot of images, so grid or list view just helps them determine how they want to find or view their portfolio. So that's about it for organizing images. We made these updates to hopefully make it easier for artists and vendors to organize their portfolio and all the files that they have. All right. So the next thing that we added this year was the ability to zoom in on the artwork images as an administrator. So jurors have been able to zoom in and out of artwork images on the scorecard for a while now. This is now something you can do on the admin side. If I'm going to log back into my administrator account, let's go to event management. I'll switch events again. If I pull up the list of applications, let's click into one of the applications. And if I were to click on artwork sample, like this, once it loads, it might take a minute. You already see here that we have the zoom functionality available. So now you can go in and zoom in. You can also use your cursor, trackpad, or your mouse rolly thingy and zoom in and out of the image itself and move it around. This is also available on the application preview or slideshow, I mean. So if you were to click on the list, view slideshow, that's actually, I'm gonna pull it up in a new window. Here we go. You can now in the slideshow as well, zoom in and out. So pretty simple new feature that was added, but it kind of gives you a nice way to view the artwork. If you conduct a thorough review of artwork submitted, maybe you're just curious, this kind of gives you the ability to zoom in without having to log in as a juror or anything like that. All right. So that's that new feature that was added. The next one's kind of a bigger one. And that's the booth map. So going back to March of 2022, this was a pretty big update that we made to introduce the booth management map that lets you upload a map of the booths for your event and assign booth numbers to applications from the map itself and begin designing your ideal placement and layout. Booth numbers also appear in the application in the same places they always have, so you'll continue to see them in the event management table. The booth map can also be displayed publicly to artists and patrons once finished. This feature is currently free and offered by request for anyone who wants it. And once we go through a quick demo of it, I'll show you how to request this feature for your event. So we'll go into the admin side again, and we'll go to Events Booth Management. So this will appear if you have the feature activated. All right. So this one already has booth map uploaded, but when you first get in, you'll upload an image of your booth arrangement. And once you're in there, basically the process of assigning booths is to click Assign Booth. And you'll see you'll be given this cursor where you can place a pin anywhere. So you can, determine which application you're going to assign the booth, click on the booth you're assigning it to. Then you'll enter booth number, whatever that is for you. And then you're going to find the participant or the artist that you're assigning the booth to. You can search through the full list. You can filter the list first to be able to see who's been confirmed and then find them there. Once you've selected the artist, you'll select a pin style. So the pin styles are either shapes or colors that determine some categorization that you choose. So we can do a plus sign and blue, and we can save pin, and you'll see that gets added there. And I can click on it again to view the assignment that I made or edit it. And it also gets added to the list. This is the one we just added. It gets added to this booth assignment list down below, and I can also go in and edit or delete it. And you can sort the list as well, just to see maybe you have different participants and you want to check on the categorization of the pins. So this is just the simple way of assigning booths, and the booth number that gets assigned here is what's visible on the application itself so that you can keep track of those. You can also choose to display the booth map to participants by checking this box. And if you check the box, this link here becomes available. And that basically just puts it onto the front end of ZAPP so that anyone who has this link that you can share can see the booth map and assignments and look through it. So if you want to use this feature now, you can fill out the form, the add-on form, to indicate that you'd like to use it. So to find this form, go ahead and just go to the Help Center. And so I'll load this to show you where it is. The alternative to this process is emailing us and letting us know that you are interested in this feature, but you can go to the add-on section of the Help Center. And down below, you'll see the form. So fill out this form, and then in this question here, which ZAPP add-on are you interested in? You can select booth management, and it's free with your current contract. And later in this webinar, I'm going to talk about plans that we have in 2023 to update this feature and actually add some more usable functionality that will make the map even better to use and more helpful. So we'll get to that in a minute. So that's the form if you want to use it. We'll go ahead into our last new feature, and this is the ability to embed the gallery on the website. So this feature was added back in February of 2022, so it may not be new knowledge to you, but it's definitely a fun and exciting update to a feature offered as an add-on to ZAPP clients. So the gallery feature, which was released as a feature even farther back, lets you display the works of the artist attending your show along with their booth numbers in an easily to navigate gallery you can display on your organization or event website. So the update we made this year was being able to embed that gallery on your own website so you don't have to direct viewers to view it on the gallery on ZAPP. So when you purchase the gallery add-on, back to the admin site, the team is going to activate the feature for you in your event editor. Go to event editor, and you'll see this new gallery details tab here. So what you have to do to just set up your gallery is go through this info and update the fields and choose what settings you want for your gallery. You can add a gallery summary, so that can be different from your event summary. Once the artwork has been chosen, you might have a different summary here. And your event name and logo will always appear on it. I'm going to show you what it'll look like, but you can include some other promotional materials or anything like that. And so once the gallery is made, we'll go ahead and show you the front end. So I'll use that this is the public URL. This is what you can direct viewers to view on ZAPP. This is what the gallery looks like. It'll show the confirmed artists and their booth numbers, and they can click on to view more information about the artist. And then which is the new part that was added, was the ability to embed this gallery on your own site. So what you would do for that is go to this part here, gallery embed code. And whoever manages your website or is able to do this would copy and paste this code here into the website itself. Then it will just appear on the website, but it'll be kind of formatted exactly as the ZAPP gallery is on here, and it will just appear on your website. This feature, this gallery embedding code feature, works with most major website hosts, so WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, anything like that. And the code itself can be altered to change the size to fit the page for your website. Overall, the gallery feature is offered as an add-on service for $200 per event. If you're interested in this feature, it'll be that same form, the add-on service form, and you can select the gallery from the options here. We actually have a bundle that lets you package the gallery feature with the on-site feature and instead just pay $250 for the two of them. So instead of $400 total, it'll be $250. On-site is the feature we have that lets adjudicators score the booths and artists in person at your event and help you determine, award winners or things like that. So you can purchase them both and save quite a bit of money. This is the list of new features that we're going over today. There have been other updates made to ZAPP, but these are the ones that were the most exciting ones that I could demonstrate for you today. The last thing and the next thing I want to go over today is our list of new features that the ZAPP team hopes to implement in the next year. So as with this last list, these are not the only features and improvements we plan to work on. These are the ones that actually just most pertain to your role as administrators using the site, and they're the ones that are most frankly likely to be added in the next year. But I also want to note that it's not guaranteed that all of these features will be added in a certain time frame. As I'm sure you can relate to, things happen that could delay our timeline or cause changes to these features. But our team is always working hard to bring you updates to the site that would make your experience better. So let's get into it. The first one is Booth Map 2.0. So as I mentioned, we plan to make some updates to the booth management map tool. And this could be a variety of changes, probably not too much changes, just as additional functionality. So maybe we hope to allow for larger map sizes or maybe multiple maps at once to more easily see those individual booths and assign them. The demo that I showed you was a pretty nice small number of booths, and it was pretty easy to add pins, but we know some events are massive and have a lot of booths, and a map view kind of just shows very tiny little booths, and it's kind of hard to assign those large pins to. So allowing for a larger map size that maybe you can zoom in and out of, or just having multiple images of different sections, that might be added. We might also add the option to drag and drop those pins out of wider variety of pin styles, so different, customization options for the color, the shape, or, whatever that is to let you customize that a little bit more. We might add a downloadable version of the booth map. So once you've assigned everyone, you can then download it and print it so you can have those assignments saved. And then additional options maybe for displaying artist information on the public booth map, kind of allowing artists to decide how much information is shown on that booth map itself. The next feature we hope to add, it's not so much a feature more than it is an update. So this would update the weekly show information email for artists. So this weekly email that's sent out to opted-in artists that includes newly added events and upcoming deadlines. We would update the design of the email to make it a little bit more easier to read and more eye-catching, hopefully gain more attention to your events for those artists. We might also explore the option of potential paid sponsorship of events that you could opt into, or have your event featured on those weekly emails a little bit more. Next is additional payment methods for artists. So this feature is pretty simple on the front end, although it's a little bit more technical. This would allow for additional payment methods for artists and vendors to pay their jury fees, booth fees, whatever it is. So we'd explore options like adding Venmo, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay. It'll still appear similar to you as the administrator. It'll just kind of say paid by a credit card or whatever it is. And then, the remittance process wouldn't change for getting those fees back to you every month. But this would just add some additional options for artists to, maybe if they have a payment method that doesn't seem to be working that day, they have additional options that they can try. So this will just improve the artist checkout experience. And it's still in planning stages, but we hope to make it, that much easier for artists and vendors. The next one is adding early bird and late fees for additional products. So right now, you can add an early bird or a late fee for the jury fees. So, whether or not the artist is paying at a certain time, you can set different prices. And then the product editor, I'll just go ahead and show you. You can see how we have, you can set up late fees for the jury fee. But this is not optional. This is not an option for booth fees or deposits or anything else that you are charging. So what that new feature would do would add this functionality to every fee type to be able to set a different cost for a different date range. Maybe you have an early bird fee for booth deposits or things like that. You can customize that a little bit more. And then we also plan to kind of improve the jury experience with projected scorecards. So that could mean adding Zoom on projected scorecards, more options for projected juries to customize that experience, and then update the jury administration page. So we know this one is kind of high priority for everyone. It's definitely still in planning mode, but we do want to improve the jury experience overall, including the projected jury buddy scorecards. So we're still brainstorming some ideas. This can include more of a hybrid projected monitor jury option. So folks can score on their own while still viewing projected image or something like that. So we're still kind of tweaking all those ideas. And with that might come other updates or changes that we don't know what that means yet, but it might just cause, regular updates to what we call certain things or, back-end settings. So we'd, of course, make sure everyone's updated if we make any major changes. But we do want to try to make that experience with the projected scorecards even better. I know that out of all these features, this one sounds the most vague, but it is the most complicated and it's the most heavy lift as a product enhancement. But our team is carefully reviewing those options to make the best and most impact on your jury workflow. Another feature we hope to add in 2023 is the ability to customize email automation. So this would let you set customized emails and have them sent automatically based on a certain action. The simplest example that I have is maybe an artist's status gets changed to confirmed. Once their status sets to confirm, you could have an automatic email go out to that artist with additional information or whatever you need from them going forward. That email you would create as a template and you would set what triggers that email, whether it be the status being changed to confirmed. Maybe once they pay a certain fee, you get an email goes out to them. So it could be many different uses, but you'd be able to, write those emails. And instead of just sending everyone in a certain batch an email at the same time, you could have those go out individually at the time that the artist needs that email. So this could be used at any stage of the process. And again, still working out the details, but this would save you some time sending out emails or just kind of help your workflow and help artists get information when they need it. Our next new feature, this would allow an artist to remove themselves from the waitlist. So again, still working this one out, but an artist would be able to remove or decline themselves on the waitlist for an event if they get put on one and then decide that they want to come off of it. Maybe they want to have their schedule set, or they found another option and they don't want to take another artist's spot on the waitlist. They could mark that they want to remove themselves, and that would notify you that you have an extra spot, something like that. But this would give them that ability. So while we don't know how this would work, it's something we're considering adding in the next year. And then finally, we have the option that we're going to work on to allow you as administrators to review and update your ZAPP account information and see your contract history in ZAPP itself. So I know right now we have access to the information, we set up your accounts, but we would add a feature that would let you review and update information so that you can have more control over the information for your ZAPP account. So instead of emailing us when a contact changes or when something else updates, you could go in and do that yourself. We might start with a read-only version, which means you can view your account information. And if you need to change it, then you can email us, but at least you'll be able to see what information we have stored for you. But later on, we do want to add the ability for you to update that yourself so that you can go in and make any administrative changes to your account. So we want to just add to the transparency of the information you get as a ZAPP user, and that includes your own account information. So that's it. That's our list, which is not exhaustive, of our new features we hope to add to ZAPP in the next year. Like I said, there'll be other updates made. And of course, as things happen in real life, we'll be tweaking things and fixing things as we discover them so we can keep ZAPP running smoothly for you all. I'll also end by saying that if you have any feedback for us or maybe even suggestions for any of these features that I talked about, don't hesitate to reach out to us. So much of what we add and we change and we fix started with an email or a phone conversation. And we do want to take what you have to say into consideration because you're the ones actually using ZAPP for your events. So we want to hear from you about what can be improved, or if we have a new feature, what you'd like to see from us. So if you want to chat with us, just reach out to zapphelp@westaff.org, and we'd be happy to talk with you. And that's officially the wrap on the latest and upcoming new features for ZAPP. I hope you learned some new things that you can start using for your events now and are excited about some of the features we hope to add soon. So thanks again for joining us, and be sure to join our next webinar in January.